Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a deep dive into the life of Salim Mawla Abu Hudhaifa.
Yeah, it's fascinating. We're working from a lecture
Mm.
about him, and I got to say, I'm already hooked. This guy, he goes from being a freed Persian slave
Hmm.
to a respected leader among the Prophet Muhammad's companions. It's
It
incredible.
really is. And what struck me right away is how, unlike some other well-known early Muslims, like Salman al-Farisi, we have tons of info about someone's background, his family, all that. But with Salim, it's like shrouded in mystery. We know next to nothing about his past, his family, his tribe, anything.
Yeah, it's almost like he just appears out of nowhere, right?
Mm.
But then we meet Abu Hudhaifa. He's like this prominent figure in the early Muslim community. And not only does he free Salim, but he, welcomes him into his family.
Totally.
He even arranges for Salim to marry his own niece, Fatima bint al-Walid.
Oh man, that detail is huge. You have to remember, Fatima came from a super wealthy, influential Meccan family, and here's Abu Hutaifa saying, yeah, my freed slave, he's good enough for my niece.
It really highlights how Islam was, actively dismantling social barriers, putting piety and character above, your lineage or wealth.
I mean, it's a pretty powerful statement.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like, here's this guy, Salim, he's embraced not because of his family name or his wealth, but because of his piety, his character, his devotion.
Absolutely. A message that would resonate even with, someone like Omar the Caliph. But we'll get to that a bit later.
Okay, let's shift gears a little. Let's talk about Salim's devotion to the Quran. The lecture mentions that his recitation was so beautiful that even the Prophet Muhammad himself admired it. What stands out to you about this?
Well, the Prophet Muhammad specifically recommended learning the Quran from four individuals,
Hmm.
right? And Salim was one of them. That's got to tell you something about his mastery and understanding of the text. You don't get that kind of recognition for nothing.
That's true, that's true. And get this. Even though he didn't have any real social standing, Salim ends up leading prayers in Dar al-Arqam in Mecca when the Prophet wasn't there.
Right. That's incredible to me.
It totally shows the level of respect he earned from the very earliest Muslims. His piety and knowledge, they just transcended any societal prejudices that might have been there.
Yeah, and his leadership wasn't limited to Mecca either. When the Muslims migrated to Medina, he became the imam for both
Mm.
the Muhajirin,
Yeah.
those who emigrated from Mecca, and the Ansar, the Medinan natives,
Yeah.
all in Cuba.
Right. It's like his leadership, it just transcended any tribal or geographic affiliations. He was
Yeah.
like the embodiment of that unifying spirit of Islam, where faith formed the strongest bond.
So the lecture also talks about how Salim participated in every single battle
Hmm.
alongside Abu Hudaifa, and how after each battle, Abu Hudaifa would search for him, make sure he was safe.
Oh, that's kind of sweet.
Right, their bond is really touching. It really is. And what's interesting to me is that Salim isn't just passively following Abu Hudaifa. He's actively fighting, putting his life on the line for his faith. I mean, this guy is known for his courage, his absolute refusal to retreat.
It's pretty inspiring.
Yeah, definitely. He really embodies those Quranic verses, about steadfastness and courage in the face of adversity.
And this all leads us to the Battle of Yama, a pretty key turning point in Islamic history, and sadly, the place where both Salim and Abu Hutaifa meet their end.
Yeah, the Battle of Yama, it's infamous for its heavy casualties,
Yeah.
especially among the Hufaz, the memorizers of the Quran. So many of them lost their lives. It was actually this devastating loss that prompted Abu Bakr, the first caliph, to commission the first official compilation of the Quran, into a single written text.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it was a real turning point. And it's amazing how Salim's story is intertwined with this pivotal moment in Islamic history.
Yeah, it is. And knowing all the risks, Salim insisted on fighting on the front lines. He even rallied his fellow Quran reciters, saying, beautify the Quran with your deeds.
Wow.
He wasn't just, reciting the words, he was living them, fighting for them.
His words, they're like a call to action. He's pushing his fellow Muslims to go beyond just reciting and to truly embody the Quran's teachings.
Right.
Salim, he believed that true devotion, it's not passive, it's about action.
Yeah.
Aligning your actions, your choices with your beliefs.
Powerful stuff.
Yeah, and especially in the face of danger.
And then the lecture describes this dramatic scene. Salim loses his right hand, picks up the flag with his left,
Yeah.
and just continues fighting while reciting verses about steadfastness. Could you imagine?
It's such a powerful image.
Hmm.
of his like unwavering spirit, his refusal to give up, even when facing like unimaginable pain and loss.
It's incredible.
It really is.
And then, sadly, Salim is he's mortally wounded, and in his final moments, he asks about Abu Hudhaifa
Huh.
and learns that they fell together. And this brings a peaceful smile to his face. It's heartbreaking, but
Yeah.
also kind of beautiful.
Yeah, it's like their bond forged through faith and trials and ultimately martyrdom, right?
Yeah.
It's a testament to the enduring power of human connection. They were united in life and in death.
It's amazing to me that Omar, the second caliph, actually mentions Salim
Right.
as someone he would have appointed as leader if he had survived.
I know, right? Omar's words, they're huge. Here's one of the most influential figures in early Islam. And he's basically saying, Salim, this guy, he had what it took to lead.
It speaks volumes about Salim, for
Oh,
sure.
absolutely. It
Uh,
highlights his potential, his leadership qualities, the admiration he inspired in others.
I mean, just imagine a freed slave potentially becoming the caliph.
Whoa.
It really makes you think about those early egalitarian ideals within Islam.
Yeah, it challenges like our modern perceptions of social mobility, leadership, all of that.
Salim's story, it's a reminder that true leadership isn't about your background. It's about your actions, your character, your commitment to living according to your beliefs.
Yeah, it's inspiring, isn't it?
It really is. It's amazing how someone who started with literally nothing rose to such heights
Yeah.
just through his devotion to Islam. What strikes you most about his journey so far?
Hmm. That's a good question. I think what's really fascinating is how his story can like resonate so differently with people today. We live in a world that's obsessed with outward appearances, social status, all that. And Salim's journey, it offers this like powerful counter narrative. It's like he's embodying that classic line. It's not where you come from, it's where you're going.
Ooh, I like that.
And Salim's destination, both literally and figuratively, was shaped by his unwavering faith and his commitment to the Quran.
Yeah, and his commitment to embodying those teachings too. It's truly inspiring. It makes you want to delve even deeper into his story and just appreciate the efforts of those who came before us.
Definitely. And I think there's another fascinating aspect to Salim's story that we should explore further. His unique relationship with Abu Hudhaifa. It goes beyond the typical, former master and freed slave dynamic.
Yeah.
It's clear that Abu Hudhaifa, he developed this deep, almost fatherly love for Salim. And that's something worth unpacking, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. We'll pick up right there in the next part of our deep dive.
It really is remarkable, how their relationship just kind of shows you the transformative power of Islam. Here you have Abu Hudhaifa, this guy from like a super prominent Meccan family, and he embraces Salim, a freed Persian slave, as his own son, basically.
You're totally right. It's evident in everything Abu Hudhaifa did for him, freeing him, welcoming him into his home, arranging his marriage to Fatima, and always looking out for him after those battles. Their bond, it adds a real human touch to this whole story.
It really does. It does. It reminds us that history is, at the end of the day, a story about people.
Yeah.
About their relationships, the choices they made, their bond. It goes way beyond that typical master-freed slave dynamic.
Yeah. Right.
There's real affection there, almost like a fatherly love that Abu Hudhaifa shows towards Salim. It humanizes these historical figures.
Yeah, totally.
We see beyond their titles and their accomplishments, and we get a glimpse of their personal connections, their vulnerabilities, their love for one another.
And it also speaks to the potential for transformation within Islam too. Their relationship, it sets this precedent for inclusivity and social mobility.
Yeah.
Especially considering Abu Hudhaifa's high standing in Meccan society.
Oh, absolutely. It challenges those existing social hierarchies.
Yeah.
And kind of suggests that, in the eyes of God, everyone's equal.
Right.
This message, it would have been radical back then. And it contributed to a more just and equitable society.
You think so?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. Think about it, A prominent figure like Abu Hudhaifa, embracing someone from a completely different background, different social standing as his own son. What kind of message does that send?
That's powerful. It's a really powerful message about the universality of Islam, true belonging. It's not about, blood ties or your social status, but about shared faith, mutual respect, and genuine love for one another. It really makes you think about how their story might have, influenced the development of early Islamic society.
It really does. It really does.
Yeah.
It makes you think about how we can create more inclusive and equitable systems, too, in our own societies,
Yeah.
Their bond, it's this powerful reminder of the unifying potential of faith. and its ability to foster genuine connection and compassion. Across all those differences, it's a message that's both timeless and incredibly relevant today, I think.
I agree. Now, going back to Salim's dedication to like living by the Quran, his actions at the Battle of Yamama, they really stand out.
They do, they do. His words, beautify the Quran with your deeds, it's a call to action. He's not just telling people to read it. He's saying, like, you got to embody those teachings.
Yeah, yeah.
For Salim, faith, it wasn't just something you, like, thought about. It was a call to action to align your deeds, your choices with your beliefs.
He put his life on the line for what he believed in. And the Battle of Yama itself, it had such a huge impact on the early Muslim community, especially the loss of so many
Oh,
Hafaz.
yeah, absolutely. The loss of so many who had memorized the Quran, devastating blow, was actually one of the key factors, one of the main reasons that Abu Bakr decided to commission the first official compilation of the Quran. Yeah, yeah. So the deaths of those who fell at Yamama, including Salim at Hudhaifa, you know, it helped ensure that the Quran would be preserved for future generations.
It's hard to imagine a time when you couldn't just pick up a copy of the Quran. It really makes you appreciate the sacrifices, that were made to preserve those sacred texts.
It really does, really does. We live in an age of information abundance. But Salim's story, it reminds us of the dedication, the sacrifice that went into ensuring the survival of these sacred texts.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the resilience of those early Muslims,
Yeah.
their determination to preserve their faith.
Absolutely. It's remarkable to think about how Salim, this guy who began life as a freed slave, he rose to such prominence. It challenges like all our perceptions of leadership. It makes you wonder if Omar, when he considered appointing Salim as caliph, if he recognized those early like egalitarian ideals in him.
It's a compelling possibility, isn't it? Omar's statement, it says a lot about Salim's character, his capabilities, his leadership qualities. He embodied like the qualities of a true leader.
What do you think those were?
Wisdom, integrity, piety, and that ability to unite people from like all walks of life.
Pretty powerful. His story, it really makes you think, What can we learn from Salim's dedication to aligning his actions with his faith?
That's a big question. It's a reminder that true leadership is not about power, it's not about privilege, it's about character, integrity, and a commitment to serving others.
What do you think people today can take away from Salim's journey of faith and resilience?
Let me see. I think for me, it's about, finding your place in the world, regardless of where you come from. Salim, he embodies this idea that true worth, it isn't measured by like your social status. It's about piety, character, commitment to your beliefs. He started with nothing, and he became a respected leader, a beloved companion of the Prophet Muhammad. It's a testament to the power of personal transformation
Right.
and the impact one person can have.
Absolutely. His story is like a beacon of hope, demonstrating that true worth is measured by piety and character, not by birth or social standing. It makes you wonder how his contemporaries viewed him. Did they just see him as Salim Mawla Abu Hudhaifa, the former slave? Or did they recognize him as like a leader and a scholar in his own right?
Hmm. That's a great question. I think probably perceptions varied, like they do in any society. But the fact that he led prayers in Mecca, served as imam for both the Muhajirin and the Ansar in Medina, and was considered like a master of Quranic recitation, that suggests he earned, widespread respect and admiration.
Yeah, that makes sense. And let's not forget Omar's statement about potentially appointing him as caliph. That says a lot.
It does, it does. Omar's words suggest that Salim possessed, the qualities of a true leader. Wisdom, integrity, piety, that ability to unite people from all these different backgrounds. It's a powerful testament to his character, and the impact he had on those around him.
It's fascinating to think that his lack of a clear lineage, a tribal affiliation, that it might have actually been a strength. Maybe it allowed him to like transcend those traditional boundaries and embody a more universal and inclusive vision of Islam.
That's a really interesting point. His story suggests that sometimes not being bound by the constraints of tradition, it can be liberating, It allows individuals to forge new paths, to embody a more expansive vision of their faith.
That's a good point. Salim's story challenges us to like reconsider our assumptions about leadership and social mobility. It's a reminder that true leadership, it's not about inheriting a position. It's about earning respect through your actions and your character. It really is amazing, just how much Salim accomplished in his lifetime, especially considering, where he started. It really makes you think about the potential we all have to make a difference.
It does. It does. His story is It's this powerful reminder that change is possible, that individuals, they can make a difference, and that striving for a more just world, a more equitable world, it's a worthwhile pursuit.
Yeah, totally. It's also a reminder that true fulfillment, it comes from pursuing a life of meaning and purpose. And Salim, he found that purpose in his devotion to Islam, right? And his commitment to embodying the teachings of the Quran.
Absolutely. And his story, it would challenge those prevailing social norms of the time. It would have been a beacon of hope,
Yeah.
demonstrating that true worth is measured by piety and character, not by, your birth or your social standing.
Yeah.
Imagine how his journey would have been perceived back then.
I know,
A
right?
freed slave rising to such prominence, it must have been truly remarkable.
Absolutely. It challenges us to reflect, on how we can create a world where those things, piety, character, a commitment to serving others, where those are the true measures of worth. It also makes you wonder, how can we be more like Salim? How can we beautify the Quran with our deeds?
That's the question, isn't it? How can we embody our values and make a positive impact on the world around us? Salim's story, it shows us that it's possible to rise above our circumstances, and leave a lasting legacy. It's a story that continues to resonate even centuries later, inspiring us to strive for a world where those social barriers are broken down and where individuals are judged, not by their origins, but by the content of their character and the impact they have on the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Salim's story it's a powerful testament to the transformative power of faith and the enduring human spirit. We've gone from, exploring his humble beginnings to witnessing his rise to leadership. It's been quite a journey.
It really has. His life, it challenges us to reconsider our assumptions about leadership, social mobility, the true meaning of a life well lived.
Well, folks, there you have it. The incredible story of Salim Mawla Abu Hudhaifa. I hope you found this deep dive as fascinating as I did.
I know I did.
And until next time, keep diving deep.